Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be showing you how to make pants, trousers, bottoms, whatever you call them, for a baby. So I will have 4 sizes: 0 to 3, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, and I will now be making 9 to 12 months. Now these are matching to one of the hoodies I have made a few weeks before. I will link that video if you would like to make a hoodie to match these pants. It will be in the description box or information box below the video. Okay, so this is a 0 to 3 months. We have ribbing, we have a little string, we have ribbing at the bottom, and the little pattern right here. So it is a 4-row repeat. It is not very difficult. I will talk through it all. Do not worry about that. Okay, so this is the smallest size. This is 3 to 6 months. These are my some of my leftover yarn. I just used it up, kept switching up colors every 4 rows, and this is what it came out as. Now I do have to say, if you are willing to change those colors, there will be a lot of tails, but it is completely up to you. And I used up some of my leftover yarn, which looks brilliant. Next, 6 to 9 months looks very simple. As again, I do have a hoodie somewhere that is matching that. Not quite sure what it is at the moment, but yeah, so exactly the same, only bigger. Now if I got you interested into making one of these, let's go on and have a look of what we are going to need for this project. So to make these pants, we are going to need scissors, 2 stitch markers, a measuring tape. This is very, very important because I will be showing you my chart, which is in centimeters, and we will be measuring to get the size that we want to make. Then we're going to need a needle to do a little bit of sewing and hiding those tails. Now it is a good idea if you can have a piece of paper and a pen, just a tiny little maths at this point right here. Not hard, I promise you, it's not difficult. Then we're going to need 2 hooks. Okay, so you want one hook that matches your yarn. So I have got a 4mm hook, matches my yarn perfectly. This is what I'm going to make the pants itself, the main part of it. And then a slightly smaller one, 3.5mm hook to do the ribbing, so that the ribbing would be a little bit tighter and would fit on slightly nicer. Okay, so now we come to the yarn. So I want to make pants that are going to be a set with this hoodie. So I have got the same 2 colors right here, and I will be making excuse me, a size 9 to 12 months again to fit the hoodie. So my yarn is DK double knit or lightweight free yarn. You can choose any yarn that you want. Even the weight does not really matter. Now you have to take into consideration, perhaps don't make them in a chunky weight yarn. They're going to be huge otherwise. So I'm choosing these two different brands. I have Aldi and Top Value, 100% acrylic, around 300 meters in 100 gram skein. Now if you will be using a different weight yarn, I'm not able to tell you how much yarn you are going to need, but if you are going to use a similar weight, then 50 grams for 0 to 3 months is enough of the main color. Now I have to say I did not have a whole lot left after that 50 grams, but it was enough. For any other sizes, you're gonna need more. So if you have 100 gram skein, that will definitely be enough, and a little bit of some other color for the ribbing. So I have got this sort of a silver color to match the hoodie. Okay, so we talked about this, and we're going to quickly have a look at my chart. So A is the circumference of our pants. So this is right here. So 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12. I will be making this size, so my circumference is about 50 centimeters. Next is B, is this part right here, so approximately 15-16 centimeters, 16-17, 17-18, 18-19. Now I would go for the bigger measurement right here, so I would try to go for the 19, but if I end up with 18 and a half, as it is handmade, you cannot always expect everything to fall exactly to the numbers that we have right here. Okay, and C is the full length of our pants. So 28, 31, 34, and 37. Now, if you are stuck absolutely anywhere on the measurement, you don't know where to go, I would say always go for the bigger measurement. You cannot go wrong there. Okay, so have a look. I will have this posted on my Facebook page if you need to have a better look. This is all in centimeters right here. Okay, so I think we can get started now. So grab your bigger hook. So I'm taking my 4mm hook, my main color, and the measuring tape. This is all we need for now. Okay, so first of all, you're going to look up what is the circumference of the pants that you are making. So my circumference is 50 centimeters wide or long, around. So we're going to start by chaining. We're going to start by chaining a lot. So we want our chain to be a little bit longer than the length that we need. I'm gonna start, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I will keep chaining and I will measure my chain, and I want it to be slightly longer than the circumference that I need. This is, you don't have to be very accurate right here. You just need to make a very long chain. So keep going. So I am approximately at 21 centimeters. I will keep going until I have about 50. Okay, so I made my chain. If I measure that, it is about 52 centimeters long. It is a little bit longer than my circumference that I need. That is perfectly all right. And I'm just gonna add another few chains. We will have too many of them, but I will show you at the end, once we finish part 1, what to do with those extra chains that we have left after we do the first row. So I'm just gonna add another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's say 8 chains. So I'm definitely over the measurement that I need. So 56. Perfect. Now you're gonna yarn over, you're gonna skip the first 2 chains, 1 and 2. Into the third chain you make a double crochet. Now that chain 2 that we skipped in the very beginning counts as 1 double crochet, so I have 1 and 2. And we will keep going with 1 double crochet into each chain until our row measures the circumference that we need for our pants. And one thing, the only thing that we need in this row is we need to count our double crochets, and we need to have an even number of double crochets at the end of this. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I will keep going, making 1 double crochet in each chain until this will measure approximately 50 centimeters. And so I have made 84 double crochets, and it measures approximately 50 centimeters, and 84 is including that very first chain, 2 chains that we have skipped. So 83 double crochets and the 2 chains. So I have 84. As long as we have an even number, it is absolutely fine. Okay, so now we can connect. So make sure it's not twisted. Find the other end and into that top chain 2. So this is chain 1 and this is chain 2. You put your hook in and make a slip knot. Now you can see I have a few chains left. So now we are going to do this part right here. Grab your scissors and your needle and cut whatever you have excess, about 3 or 4 chains away, so those extra chains. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Cut that off, and all you need to do is unravel this. Let me see if I can get it closer. So just unravel one more. Make sure you don't do too much. So just like that, and you can see I've unraveled all the way until my very first or the last double crochet, everything that was too much. Now I'm gonna find the bottom of that chain 2, so this is right here, and I'm going to sew it together to connect it like that, and make a little knot. It is slipping out. And that's it. Now we have it connected like that, and we can keep going. I will hide that tail later on. Okay, so we have connected into the chain 2. Now to start the next row, we are going to chain 2, 1 and 2. That counts as 1 double crochet. You're gonna turn, and you will be making 1 double crochet into each stitch. So this is the next stitch. To see double crochet, and the stitch is a little bit to the left of it. And again, just to make sure that you have an even number of stitches, count them. So I have 1, 2 into the next stitch, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and keep going. I'll meet you at the end right here. Okay, so I have 82 double crochets so far, and I need 2 more to finish this row. So 83 and 84. So you will keep the same amount of double crochets all the way until we get to the part where we have to split this part. So just remember that. Okay, so connect into the top of the chain 2, chain 1 and chain 2. Make a slip stitch, chain 2 and turn. So this is the row where we start doing our front post double crochets and have double crochets in between those front posts. So yarn over, find the next double crochet. So this is chain 2, and this is the first double crochet after that. Go around it and make a front post double crochet. Now the next one, so this is a next double crochet, and the stitch is a little bit to the left of it, and make a half double crochet into the stitch. Yarn over, then find the next double crochet, this one. So you skip that one where you made the half double crochet on top. Find the next double crochet and make a front post double crochet. Next is a half double crochet into the top of that next double crochet into the stitch. So double crochet around the next double crochet, front post double crochet, excuse me, then a half double crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet, half double crochet into the stitch, front post double crochet, half double crochet into the stitch, front post, and keep going like this. Now you have to make sure that you have 1 double crochet in between those posts right here, so that we can get our pattern right. So keep going, and I'll see you at the end of this row. Okay, so I'm finishing this row. I have 2 stitches left, as you can see right here, 2 double crochets. So you should always finish the row with front post double crochets. Your very last stitch before the chain 2 should be a front post. So I had a front post here, half double crochet here, and then the very last stitch before the chain 2 is a front post double crochet, like that. Then you will connect again into the top of the chain 2, so chain 1 and chain 2, with a slip stitch. So we have 3 rows done. Now the next rows are going to be the repeat rows. So we're going to start, every row is going to start with chain 2 and turn. Find your next stitch. So there's a double crochet there, it was a front post, so look carefully. The stitch is right here, a little bit to the left of it, and make a double crochet in there, and keep going with 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. And this is going to be the first repeat row. Keep going all the way around, and I'll meet you here. Okay, so finishing the repeat row 1 is, you definitely do not want to miss that very last stitch. Again, it will be from a front post, and it is a little bit to the left, so write this one. Or you can just count your double crochets, and again you have to have the same number as in previous rows. Okay, so once you make your last double crochet, you're gonna find the chain 2, 1 and 2, into the top of that chain, make a slip stitch, chain 2 and turn. Repeat row 2 is again a double crochet row, so you find your next stitch, so this double crochet and the stitch a little to the left of it, and start with 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. Just like that. Keep going. Finishing my repeat row 2, my very last stitch from this double crochet, and connect into the top of the chain 2. So we have 2 repeat rows. Now repeat row 3 is, you're gonna chain 2, you're gonna turn, and once again 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. These 3 rows are very simple. You just need to remember how they start and end, and just keep the same number of double crochets or stitches in all of these rows. So keep going. Again, I'm gonna see you at the end of this row. Finished my repeat row 3. Again, connect into the top of the chain 2, chain 2 and turn. And our repeat row 4 again is the front post and the half double crochets in between, so the same one. You are gonna have 3 rows of double crochets, and your 4th one is going to be this one with a little bit of a pattern. So you're gonna chain 2, find the first double crochet after the chain, and start with a front post double crochet, half double crochet into next stitch, double crochet around the next double crochet, half double crochet, front post double crochet, half double crochet into the stitch, and you just keep going around, and I'll see you at the end of this row. And your repeat row 4 should be ending with a front post double crochet, and connect into the top of the chain 2. Chain 2, turn around and start your repeat row 1, which is double crochet row, and then just keep going with the same 4 rows. Double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, front post and half double crochet row, and then again you just keep going with those 4. Okay, so at this point we just need to keep going. We need to get the length right here. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so this is the B right here. Okay, so the B for me is 18-19 centimeters. Let me get my measuring tape. So the thing is, we are going to still have the ribbing right here, which is going to add us another 3 centimeters. So for now we just imagine that those 3 extra centimeters is there, and you just keep going until you get to for me it is about 18-19. I will try to do it longer. I'll try to get to the 19 as close as possible. So for now you're just making the main part of the pants about 3 centimeters shorter than it says right here, just because at the very end we are going to add extra 3 centimeters right here. So if this is the full 15-16, as you can see, so it is approximately 15 centimeters, because this is 0 to 3 months, right? So from right here I crocheted for 12 and then added an extra 3 on top, and you get your 15 or whatever you need to do. So for now keep making those 4 repeat rows, and I'll see you in about, what is that, about 11 and about 8 centimeters. Okay, so I have finished my top part and it measures approximately 16 centimeters, plus I'm gonna have another 3 on top that will make it 19 in total. So 18-19 for me right here. So I am in the very good spot right here. Okay, so next thing is we're going to, wherever you have finished, it does not matter which row you have finished on, you are going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. Leave a little longer tail. We might use this for sewing up, and pull that out. Now we need to split this into 2 and start making the legs. So grab a piece of paper, or if you can do it in your head, that is absolutely fine. So write down the number of double crochets that you have. I have 84 double crochets. Now, as there's 2 legs, we are going to divide this into 2. So 84 divide into 2, I end up with 42 double crochets for each leg. Now this is where we might have to do different things. So we want to leave a little spot right here in between the 2 legs. So first of all, so this is 42 double crochets for each leg. Okay, so first try -2 from whatever number you got for each leg. So 42 for me, I do -2, I end up with 40 double crochets. So that means that I'm going to have 2 stitches in one side and 2 in the other in between the 2 legs. So it's going to leave a little gap right here, and I end up with 40 double crochets. Now that is perfect because we need to end up in with an even number, so 40 is fine. Now if you do -2 and you end up, let's say 39, which is an odd number, right? So you go back and -3 instead of 2, so you end up with an even number. Doesn't matter which number it is, it just has to be an even number. And if you did the -3, you're gonna have 3 stitches gap in between the 2 legs. Just remember which one you had. So for me it is -2, I end up with 40 double crochets for each leg. Okay, remember that. Whatever you had, grab your stitch markers and we're gonna do a little bit of stitch counting. Now see where your tail is right now, okay? So if if you have a gap of 2 double crochets, just like me, so you are going to put your first stitch marker right behind that knot, right behind it, okay? Like this for now. And now you're gonna count as many stitches as you have here written down. So I have 40. So starting from the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 right here. Now you want to take the same stitch marker from the other side and mark the next stitch. So you have 40 stitches that are unmarked, right? So this is, we will be sewing this together. All the other stitches are going to be used for the leg. Now, as I only have 2 stitches in between the 2 legs, I should just put the stitch marker into the next stitch from one side and into the next stitch on the other side, just like this, and connect it. And just to be sure, I will count it again. Now, if you have 3 stitches in between the legs, you should have 1 stitch in between the 2 stitch markers, but you always have to make sure when you count that you have the same amount of stitches for both legs. So let's say if I had 3 stitches in between, I would have this and this free and my stitch marker in the next 2. So you just have a tiny little bit more for the gap. But I have 2, so I go back, mark this and mark that. And just to be sure, I'm gonna count my stitches on the other leg. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30, 39 and 40. Perfect. So we have split it into 2, and you will either have 2 stitches marked here or 3, depending, whatever makes the number of stitches right here even numbers. Okay, so we're going to start on the first leg, whichever you are starting on. First of all, you're gonna turn your work. So I want to start on the side where I have my seam right here, and we're gonna start on this leg first. Okay, so we're gonna have to figure out which way we have to go. So some of us are gonna have to go on the outside depending what row you are on. Some will have to go like this way, crochet on the inside. Okay, so have a look of how many double crochet rows or whatever rows you have right here. So I have 1, 2, 3 double crochet rows in a row. So my next row is the repeat row 4, which I will do on the outside of the leg. Or if you are going to do now second repeat row, so if you only have 1 double crochet row before you start the leg right here, again you will be doing the second repeat row. You will be going again on the outside or on the good side, just like me. So we'll start here and we will be going that way around. Now if you have your last row right here is either front post and half double crochet row, or if you have 2 rows of double crochets when you have finished before now, you will be connecting right here, right behind the first stitch marker, and you will be doing your double crochet row on the inside right here. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, as I am on the slightly more difficult row, this is perfect. Do not worry, I will show the other rows as well. So this is technically the leg right here is exactly the same as we did everything right here, only in a smaller size. Okay, so it's like making a half of it. So exactly the same, it's only smaller. We'll be still changing sides, and we will keep swapping around those 4 repeat rows. Okay, so connect in the closest stitch near the stitch marker, so I'm gonna do it right here. If you're going on the inside of the leg, I suggest you find your first stitch behind the stitch marker or on the other side. It does not, technically it does not matter. Now you're gonna chain 2, and if you're doing double crochets, whichever way you're going, you're just going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around, and when you finish, you're going to connect into the chain 2 right here, into the top of the chain 2. Now I have the more difficult row, so that is perfect. I will show you the row with front and half double crochets. So find your next stitch after you make your chain 2, and just do a front post double crochet into the next stitch, half double crochet, front post double crochet, half double crochet, and keep going all the way around. Again, if you're making any of the free double crochet rows, just 1 double crochet into each stitch and you finish that row. So half double, front, half double, and front. Keep going until you come very close to the stitch marker on the other side. Now I'm finishing this row, and have a look. Now if you're making double crochets, you're just going to have a double crochet in that very last stitch, and then you're gonna find the chain 2 and connect like this. Now as I'm doing the front and back post crochet row, you see this stitch is marked and it belongs to the gap right here. So the double crochet before, we should end with a front post double crochet. And now if you count your stitches, you are gonna have this amount of stitches that you have just counted with me. Okay, and then you are going to connect into the top of the chain 2, and turn. Keep going with any of the rows that you need to do. Now we might be on different rows, do not worry. Like I said, it is exactly the same as we have done here, only in a smaller size. So I have chain 2, I'm gonna turn, find my next stitch, double crochet, 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. And again, I'll see you at the end of this row. I will just remind you how to do the beginning of each row. I'm finishing this row, my last stitch, connect into the chain 2. Now again, it is starting to be a little bit difficult to see because it is smaller. We're going in a smaller circle. If you have any doubts at all, just count all your double crochets plus the chain 2 counts as a double crochet. As long as you have the same number of stitches all the way through the leg, it is absolutely fine. So chain 2, turn. I am on repeat row 2 now, into the next stitch, and make your double crochets, 1 into each stitch. Finishing row, connect into the top of the chain 2, chain 2, turn. I have my 3rd repeat row, so again double crochets, find your next stitch and start doing your double crochets. Finishing my 3rd repeat row, connect into the chain 2, into the top of that chain 2, chain 2, and my repeat row 4 is again the front and half the front double crochets and the half double crochet. So again I find my next double crochet, front post, half double crochet, front post, half double crochet. Right, so let's finish this row. I'll see you at the end of this, and we will have a look at those measurements for how long we should keep going with these repeat rows until we get the right length for our leg. And you finish with a front post double crochet, connect into the top of the chain 2, turn and start your next row. So for now we just need to keep going with these 4 rows. Again, let's have a quick look. Okay, so this is where we are going to look at the C right here. So this is the full length of your pants. So this is C. For me it is 37 centimeters full length. Now what we have to keep in mind is that this measurement right here, it does take in this ribbing right here into the consideration. It does come into that length plus the ribbing at the bottom of the leg. So this is 3 centimeters right here and 3 centimeters right here, so 6 in total. We need to keep going from top to bottom until we're approximately 6 centimeters short to the full length, because we make the main part and then we're gonna add 3 centimeters on top and 3 centimeters on bottom. So from the full length, so 37 centimeters is my full length, I minus 6 centimeters, I end up with 31 centimeters from the top right here to the end of the leg. At the moment, let me see, I am at the length of 22 centimeters. So I need to keep going with the leg in this pattern for another 9 centimeters until I am at 31. I hope that makes sense to you. We just make it, for now, we just measure it to be shorter for about 6 centimeters from the full length. So at the end, I'm gonna end up with this, but for now it's 6 centimeters shorter. So keep going and I will see you once we finish this leg. Okay, so I have finished one leg. If I measure everything now from top to bottom, and I am at approximately 31 centimeters, perhaps 31 and a half. So I have another 6 left, 3 to add at the bottom and 3 to add at the top, and I will be at the length that I need to be. But for now I am finished with this leg. So I am just going to chain 1 and cut my yarn. Need to find my scissors somewhere. Right, found them. So I'm just gonna leave some tail and cut that off, pull that out. Now we're going to do the other leg, so exactly the same, only on the other side. Again, start with the same row that you started on this one. So I have a front post double crochet row and half double crochets. So I'm just gonna connect myself right here next to the stitch marker, chain 2. Besides, I am leaving a little bit of tail. I'm not crocheting over them, because once we are going to sew up those stitches that we have right here, we're gonna have a little gap right here left, and you can use the tail from where you are starting now if you want to sew it up a little bit so you do not see that hole right there. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it on the inside of the pants. So chain 2, start from the next stitch or the next double crochet, whatever you have to do, and Again, you should have the same amount of double crochets or stitches, whatever you count, as on the other leg, just so both legs are exactly the same. So keep going. I'll see you at the end of this row. I'm finishing this row. This is my very last double crochet or the stitch right here, but as I'm doing front post row, I am finishing with the front post double crochet. Now I'm gonna find the chain 2. It might be a little bit tricky to find it right here in the first row because we have a lot going on. Just right here, so chain 1 and chain 2, connect, chain 2, turn, and do whatever you have to do. So I will make this leg exactly the same amount of rows as I have on the other one. So keep going. I'll see you when we have this finished. Now I am finished with most of it, so I only have this part left to clean up and add the ribbing everywhere. Okay, so first of all, let's clean this up. You can sew it on the outside if that's easier for you. I like to do it on the inside. So I'm just gonna grab this tail, pull it inside, and I will leave my stitch markers in there for now. It is slightly easier for me to see what I have to sew together right now. So as I had 2 stitches on each side, so 1, 2 and 1, 2, I'm just going to stitch them together. If you had 3, you're gonna have another stitch in between your stitch markers. So like this, into the other marked stitch, like this, and into the next one and the next one, just like that. I'm gonna go back into the last stitch. I left a little loop right here. I didn't pull it completely. I'm gonna go back into that loop and make a little knot in there, and that is it. I'm just gonna hide my tail in between the stitches right now, wherever you want to. And I'm gonna cut that tail. Now on the other side, I'll take my stitch markers out, and that is all sewn up. Now, as I have said, if you look now, right here, there is a little hole. If you don't mind that, do not worry, there's one on each side. This is where we have started crocheting our leg. We can stitch them up a little bit with those tails. Again, it's a little bit harder to see because it's on the inside, but I'm sure you can see it on your pants. Okay, so I have these tails, so you can see this is the little hole, and I'm just gonna catch the stitch on the other side and on right here, and I'm just gonna pull it slightly together, and that is all I'm going to do. I'm gonna go back in once more, go back, keep that loop, and pull tight, hide the tail. And I'll do the same on the other side. You can see right here, so this is the little hole. And I'm just going to close it in a little bit, like that. Once, one more. Oh. Go back into that loop, pull tight, and hide that tail a little bit more. And that is all done. And just the very last finishing touches. As you can see, this is how it looks like at the moment. Okay, so I have a little bit of yarn left. Perhaps for my next project I'll do something colorful with the leftovers, perhaps. Now grab your color that you are going to use for the ribbing, and we will start here at the top. Okay, so I have my 2 hooks ready, my other color, and I will find where that tail is at the back. I'll grab the bigger hook, make a slip knot, and connect as close to that knot as I can, so into the next. Now we will be crocheting into the leftover thread or the chains right here. So on top of each double crochet you have something left over. You might have only 1 thread left there depending on how you start your first row. I have 2 like that. So you will be making a single crochet into each of them. I'm just gonna connect right here. I'm gonna chain 1, make a single crochet back into that same stitch, and keep going with 1 single crochet on top of every double crochet from the very first row. And keep going all the way around. Okay, so I made a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. I'm gonna connect into the top stitch, so skip the chain 1, but find the very first stitch on the top and connect like this. Now we are going to start the ribbing. If anybody finds the ribbing difficult to do, because it will take time, and it will take actually quite a bit of time to go all the way around. If you do not want to do this, what you can do, you can swap the ribbing for front post and back post double crochet rows until you reach your 3 centimeters right here. You know, you can do different things because the front post and back post is much easier. The only thing that why I'm doing the ribbing right here is because I'm matching these pants to the hoodie that I have, and the hoodie has the single crochet ribbing right here. So it's completely up to you. Okay, so if you're doing the ribbing with me, swap your hook for a smaller one, and you are going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, if you will have to change up the number of single crochets, perhaps you need less of a ribbing, you know, maybe it came out a little bit longer for you, or you need more to catch up with a little bit of length, or perhaps you're using thinner or thicker yarn than me, you might have to change up the how many single crochets you do right here. So all you have to do at this moment right here, so I have 6 chains. You can do more chains if you want to have it longer, or less chains if you want to have it shorter. Okay, so I have 6. Next, we're gonna skip the very first chain into the second chain. We're gonna do a single crochet. Ooh, split. That is 1 single crochet. Into the next chain, 2, into the next chain, 3, into the next one, 4, and into the next one, 5 single crochets. Now if you're making the ribbing for the first time ever, it might be a little bit easier for you if you get yourself a stitch marker, and every time you make your number of single crochets, which will be 5 for me, at the bottom right here, you can see the very last stitch, you mark that. That will be your first stitch in the next row of the ribbing, and it is just that way it is easier to find it. Okay, so made 5 single crochets. Then you're gonna look down, find the next stitch on the bottom and make a slip stitch. That's slip stitch 1 into the next stitch, slip stitch 2. We're gonna be making 2 slip stitches. We will be we have to connect this ribbing to our pants. Then you're gonna turn. You're gonna put your yarn in front of your hook, or in between your hook and your ribbing. You're gonna find the very first stitch, so which I have marked right here, or you can count 5 down from the top, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, this one, and into the back loop. So you can see this is the front loop of that stitch and this is the back one, so you only catch the back one. Start making your single crochets. So this is 1, take that out, I do not need this, I already found the very first stitch. Look for the next stitch into the back loop. This is 2, into the back loop, 3, back loop, 4, back loop, 5, chain 1, turn. Now you're going to go down. You're going to skip that chain 1, find the next stitch, and again only into the back loop, 1, into the next one, back loop, 2, next one, back loop, 3, next back loop, 4, and the last one is 5. Again, if you need, mark your very last stitch like this. Connect it to your pants, 2 slip stitches, so into the next stitch, slip stitch 1, into the next stitch, slip stitch 2, turn, yarn in front of the hook and your ribbing, find the very first stitch which I have marked, and again into the back loop only, single crochet 1, take that out, into the next one, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1, turn, going back, skip the chain 1, into the back loop, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. If you need, you mark that very last stitch. I'm very comfortable with doing the ribbing. I do not need to mark them. 2 slip stitches, 1 and 2, turn, yarn in front, into the back loop, 1 single, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1, turn, skip the chain 1, into the back loop, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. If you need to, mark your last stitch and 2 slip stitches, 1 and 2, and you keep going this way all the way around, and I'm gonna meet you at the very end right here. Okay, so I have finished my ribbing. You want to stop when you're at the bottom and you have 1 or 2 stitches left. It does not matter, it always depends on how many stitches you had in total. As long as you have something left to connect to, that is absolutely fine. Just 1 slip stitch. Now we're gonna slip stitch all the way up, so you want to find your very first chain right here that you have done in the very beginning. You go into that, then find the very first stitch on the other side and go from top down like this. Catch your yarn on the inside, pull, pull and pull into the next one, into the next stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119 catch your yarn, pull, 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 and do the same all the way up until you completely close your ribbing. And the last one. Once you finish, chain 1 and cut your yarn. Leave a slightly longer tail because we have to hide it. Grab your needle and we're gonna have to make a knot first. So what you want to go from the inside out on the very top and come out in the middle of that chain 1 that we have done in the very end. So like this. You come out, hold that loop, go through the loop, and you're done. You have a knot right there and you just want to hide it a little bit like that. Cut your yarn, and now I'm gonna quickly hide my other tails. So I'm gonna show you how I hide it. It's really simple. I have crocheted over them for a little bit, so I'm just gonna go, it's a little short, back in between those stitches and in and out. Cut, and I'm gonna do exactly the same with the other one. Now you can leave your top like that, or you can do a little string right here from chains, just chaining around. You can leave it, it's absolutely fine, but I will do my chain little string around. So make a slip knot and start chaining. Do a long chain. I'll do about 110. Remember, we can always add or take some away depending on how long of a string you need. So with a smaller hook, I'll just start chaining. I have 10. I'll keep going until I have about 110. Okay, so I have a chain of about 110. Again, like I said, you will be able to add more or take some chains away if this is too long or too short for you. So I want to start adding it at the front. So I leave the little seam at the back. It's quite difficult to find it. It's right here. Oh, here it is. So that is the back. I'm just gonna find the middle, so around here somewhere, and I'll start adding my chain. So in between the ribbing right here at the bottom, we'll just put my hook in like this. Take your little string, find that side where you have the tail. So I haven't cut off my thread yet. I'm gonna put the very chain onto my hook and just pull it out. So I'm gonna skip the next rib right here, and the one after, again, I put my hook in, catch first chain and pull it out. Again, skip one ribbing, the next one at the bottom, and pull it out. And just like that, keep going all the way around, and I'm gonna meet you right here somewhere. Now that is done. I think I need a few more chains, so I'm just gonna add a few more. And again, if you have too many, you can just take some of them out. That should be enough. I'll just try to close that and see if that is enough. I might just add another few. And that should be fine. So I'm gonna cut off my yarn, pull that out, make sure that you are comfortable with closing that. That is absolutely fine. I do not want this to be long. If you wanted longer string, you can just do that. If one of your sides is a little shorter, you can always move it around to make them the same on both sides. So let me quickly do that and we'll get rid of those tails right here. Right, I'm happy with this. So let's get those tails hidden. So if you want to go from the back side of the chain, so this is that. I'm just gonna go in between the stitches. You don't want to cut too close to where your chain starts because they can come apart. Like this, just into the inside of those chains. And cut. Same on the other one, just on the inside in between. Like that. And cut. Like this. Right, next up is the bottom part right here. Okay, so to start the bottom right here, the ribbing, what we're going to do, we're going to do a little bit of decreasing. Now what I wanted to show you, okay, so if you want it to be a little bit more snug or smaller at the bottom, you are going to skip every fourth stitch. So this is what I am going to do. I'm going to skip every fourth stitch right here at the bottom when I'm doing the single crochet row. Now if you want it just a little bit tighter, not too much, perhaps you feel that this will be easier to put it on the child, you are going to skip every fifth stitch when you are doing this row. So whatever you like more, as you can see, it is much less snug on this one rather than this. Okay, grab your smaller hook, grab your color, whichever one you want to start on, it does not matter. Make a slip knot, connect where you have finished. This is the chain 3 for me, like this. I'm gonna crochet over the tails a little bit, one tail to each side. So when I will be coming back, I will be crocheting over the silver tail and I will crochet over this now. Okay, so you chain 1, you make a single crochet next into the next stitch, so that is 1 more single crochet into the next, so that's 2, and 3 single crochets in a row. So as I want to do it tighter, I'm just gonna skip the next stitch and jump straight into the one after. So I just skipped a stitch. If you don't want it to be so snug as I have showed you, you do 4 single crochets in a row and then you skip stitch number 5. So I have 1, 2, and 3. I'm gonna skip number 4. So I'm gonna skip that one, go into the next, and again 1, 2, and 3. Skip number 4. 1, 2, and 3. Skip number 4. 1, 2, and 3. And skip number 4. Keep going this way all the way around until you get to where you have started. And just finish this row whichever way it works out for you. Slip stitch into the very first stitch and chain 6, or whatever you have chained right here. So I have chained 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Skip the top chain, start making your single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 slip stitches at the bottom, 1 and 2. Turn yarn in front into the back loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, turn, skip the chain 1 into the back loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2 slip stitches. 1 and 2. So technically this is exactly the same as we have done right here at the top. So keep going. I'll see you at the end right here. And once you're finished, again, I have slip stitch. I had one more slip stitch at the bottom. We're going to slip stitch all the way back up, just like we did up here. I'm gonna chain 1 and cut my yarn. Now before you actually hide these tails right here, what you want to do is you want to measure if you actually got the length of the pants right. So right here, 28, 31, 34, or 37 centimeters. It is 37 for me. I'm just gonna lay them down flat and measure. I actually even got 38, so tiny little bit longer. So right here, no problem at all. I do not mind that. And once you're happy with the length, let's hide those tails. Again, we need to make a knot right here at the end. So from the back to the front, I'm gonna catch that loop and go in and pull tight. I have a knot there and I'm just gonna go in through those stitches to hide it. Done with that. Cut my yarn and I have 2 more tails left. Now if you have crocheted over those 2 tails, like I have showed you that I'm going to do, what you can do if you want to tighten it up a little bit, even a little bit more at the bottom, you can just pull on those tails. So from one side, as you can see, all that side is tucking in, and the same on the other one. If you're happy of how it looks, I might went too far, like this. I'm just going to finish with these tails right here. One way and the other way. And one more. And this is how my pants look like at the moment. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side, and I will see you after that. And so I have finished my pants. You can see I have a full matching set right now. Take that away, and this is how they look like. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. I hope this one works out for you well. Bye!